On May 20th of this year, 2016, I asked my Facebook friends to please message me what time sunset happened. These are all the different times that my friends reported sunset. But how is that possible? How can the sun set at 11 different times on the same planet? Well, one friend in particular might be able to give us a little bit of a hint. My friend Marina is on a European trip. She's visiting 3 different countries in just a few days. She sent me the information for sunset time at each of the places she visited. So you can see that the sunset happened 3 different times, and it changed at each location. Now, I don't know about you, but I had to double check where these places were. So I pulled up a map of Europe and then double checked which cities had daylight savings time and which ones didn't. And then I made some adjustments. And now that we're mapping the time on the map, we're starting to see a little bit of a pattern. So it looks like the further south you move on the map, the earlier the sunset happens. That would mean that the further north you are, the more daylight hours you have. That information definitely shows a pattern, but I think it'd be a good idea to go through these other locations and map them as well. Ta-da! Here it is. Here are all the locations that people sent me, along with the times that the sunset occurred at each of those places. Now you can definitely see there is a pattern. The sun sets much later at the north than it does at the south. But that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Alaska, where the sun set at 9:56, is known for being very cold and very icy. So how in the world is that happening? Well, the next step to solve this mystery, I'm going to switch from a flat map of the world to a globe. And I'm going to take the exact same locations and I'm going to use longitude and latitude and try to line up those times again. Now you can see the pattern even more if you couldn't see it before. But we're still not done. I'm also going to add arrows to show where the sunlight's coming from. Now, with these arrows, this doesn't quite make sense because what this would mean is that those locations right along the equator should have the most daylight because the sun is pointed directly at them. But you can see that the sun sets there between 7 and 6 o'clock. It's hard to remember because we don't notice it. But the Earth is actually tipped over. It's not pointed straight up and down. It's tilted on its axis, about 23.5 degrees. For the last piece of our puzzle, let's do the same thing to our picture. So now we're going to tip our Earth 23.5 degrees and leave the numbers where they were. Oh, now it's starting to make a lot more sense. So now what we've got is we can see that the Earth is pointed toward the sun in the northern hemisphere. So those places where the sunset happens later in the day are actually getting more daylight hours because they're pointed toward the sun. You're going to have a chance to explore this even more in our assignment today.